Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a webinar information session for Smart Lifestyle Australia. My name's Tim Eisenhower. I work for On Market. We are the licensed intermediary and very proudly working with SLA on this campaign. The agenda for today, we're probably going to top out at around 60 minutes. But the agenda for today, a couple of key things. I want to just run you through as investors or potential investors, the key dates and key metrics and information around the campaign. I then want to introduce the senior management team for SLA. We've got a couple of them online here who are going to give a short overview presentation, the key ins and outs of their company and what they're looking to do, and the investment opportunity itself in a nutshell, effectively what you're tuning in for today. We will then have questions from the crowd, and I encourage you, those that are online, to use the Q&A box at any time, starting from now, to ask your question, and then as the host, I'll work with the panelists to get those questions answered for you. So just to introduce SLA and the investment opportunity, SLA are looking to raise up to around $5 million from this capital raising campaign. It has been for a little while now, a couple of weeks in their expression of interest period. It's had great response. We've had over 600 potential investors expressing their interest in the campaign. And that campaign, or the expression of interest campaign, runs until next Thursday, September 25, when those that have expressed their interest get invited into the private deal room period. So we'll talk about that a little bit further as we go on. But if you haven't expressed your interest, you're online now, you have friends who are interested in investing in the campaign, please go onto the On Market website to do that. I would now like to introduce the senior management team for SLA. So we have Naeem, the CEO and founder, Andrew, the CFO, Vince, the Chief Marketing Officer or CMO, and Susie, who's Head of People and Culture. So Naeem, I'd like to hand over to you to give an overview of the company, the investment opportunity. And once again, I ask those that are online, if you do have any questions, just to use the Q&A box, and those Q&As or questions will start building up. And upon the conclusion of the presentation, I'll introduce or ask the questions of the panelists. So over to you, Naeem, and look forward to seeing what presentation you have for us.
Thank you, Tim. Thanks for the nice introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Naeem. I'm the founder, CEO of Smart Lifestyle Australia. A little bit of background about myself, who I am. I have been working in the Australian energy industry since 2005. In 2010, I started my first business called Synergy Pty Limited. The business is doing more than $50 million annual turnover now. In 2021, I have founded a business called Smart Lifestyle Australia to solve a particular problem that exists with us now. Okay. The problem that we have got, the question is, why Smart Lifestyle Australia? Okay. So Vincent, if we can get to that next slide. Okay. We all know that rising energy cost is a common problem that every household, every business has got. Rising energy cost is increasing the cost of living pressure. As we know that our energy cost is going up by more than 10% every year. Annual electricity price is going up by 10%. Our cost of living pressure is going up by almost 7% every year. So that's all bad news. The good news is the EV sales is going up by 25%. Now, what's the problem? This is one problem. We have got another problem. Okay. Australia lacks a simple AI-powered all-in-one software and hardware solution to make homes and businesses smarter and more energy efficient. How we deal with this challenge that we have got? We have got a challenge. Vince, can we please go back to the previous slide? Yep. So how we deal with the challenge that we have got? We have got a challenge of rising energy price, cost of living pressure. We all know that electrification is the only solution. However, all these equipment or the hardware that we're installing around the house, it's not used efficiently. For example, you don't have to run your hot water system 24/7. It can run as per your requirement. So there is inefficient energy use that's going on around the house, around your business. At the same time, the hardware that we have got, it's not talking to the grid. Okay, so we are not getting the best possible price from the grid. At the same time, we are not tracking our carbon, how much carbon you are generating, how much carbon you are saving, and what is your net pollution. So as to deal with all these problems, we came up with a solution. And the solution that we have got is an all-in-one electrification solution. So we have designed a set of hardware: hot water heat pump, heating and cooling, EV charger, induction cooktop, battery storage. All these hardware that we have designed to ensure that this hardware will deliver the maximum efficiency possible at a reasonable cost. At the same time, all this hardware is going to talk to a software. That software is AI powered, and that software will manage all this hardware for yourself. For example, if Tim comes home 6 o'clock in the evening, plug his car for charging, it's not necessarily that we have to charge the car at 6 o'clock, because if we charge our car at 6 o'clock, it's going to be quite expensive. However, after 12 o'clock, midnight, when the grid price drops, the AI-powered software can start charging the car for Tim, because the price is a lot lower from the grid and the charging is going to be a lot cheaper. At the same time, when it is 6 o'clock in the morning and the price is going up, the software can stop charging. And by 8 o'clock, Tim car is fully charged and he is ready to go to work. So that's how it's going to work, okay, with all other devices. So the hardware, the set of hardware that we have got, it will connect to the software. The software is going to connect to the grid later on. The software that we have got, it's going to be a subscription-based model. As we all know, anything which is subscription-based has got very high profit margin. It grows with each new installation that we are doing. So far, we have done 11,500 installation in Australia. That is as of 31st of March. If we think about till now, it's a lot more than that. Every single of these customer is a potential customer for the SaaS platform that we are developing. You don't have to do anything. You basically install the hardware, connect the hardware with the software. The AI within the software is going to learn your user pattern. It's going to learn your behavior. According to that, the AI will run everything for you. So that's the solution that we have got. Now I'm going to pass it to Vincent to talk about the next part. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Naeem. Hello, everyone. We're just going to run through the current slide that we have present. As you can see, there's quite a lot of company traction. What's very impressive to note is the current 1 million net profit after tax. That just shows that we are a profitable business and we are moving in an upward trajectory. Along that, we've got 11.5K products successfully installed, along with a very live and captive audience that we will be able to then push our subscription-based product across. So there's already a captive market that is already familiar with Smart Lifestyle Australia. Along that, we've already mentioned previously, there's 13 million plus in actual revenue to date. That's another strong indicator that we are a proven business and we have a model that works. Along there, we've got 1.5 million in battery installations. This is also another proven number that shows there is a lot of growth and a lot of demand in the industry for our product. We've got 2 products in market. The management team has over 100 years of experience. So this is not the first time we've been in market. We're experienced, we understand, and we know how to navigate the highs and lows. On top of that, we've got 3 other exciting products that are going to be coming out shortly as well. If I move on to the next slide. Which provides us with a bit of an overview of the current market. Now, if we have a look, there's quite a lot of different percentages. Now, these percentages are exactly what's driving a lot of this demand. So if you look at government incentives, cost of living pressure, rising energy costs, and essentially people are becoming more aware of what they can do to reduce carbon emissions and are looking for smarter solutions to reduce their energy cost and increase living comfort, essentially taking back control. If we take a look at the 115%, it provides a strong signal of market growth. So from now to 2030, the clean energy market expected to more than double in just 5 years. This positions the electrification market as one of Australia's fastest growing sectors. This is a powerful number. Along with, if we have a look, the 19 billion expected market size by 2030, it provides a really strong runway of where we're going to be. If we also take a closer look at the current electricity market, we can see prices have jumped 40% in the last 2 years. Rising costs make electrification not just sustainable, but a financial necessity as we move forward. I suppose the question is now is, with all this information, how do we really penetrate the market? So we've already discussed a bit of that before, but these are our products. So this is essentially the starting point of where we're going to be heading. This positions SLA for long-term growth in energy efficiency and electrification markets. Each product aligns with future-ready consumer energy trends and contributes to decarbonisation efforts. I've already spoken briefly about the battery storage and hot water heat pump. These 2 products are essentially our first products to market. If we look at hot water heat pump, that's got a strong customer base and that's generated 13 million. Alongside that, we've launched the battery storage product and we've pre-sold roughly 1.5 million in a very short period of time. This indicates strong market interest and validates our product demand. The other products that are currently in schedule will position SLA throughout the consumer home, creating a one-stop ecosystem and ensuring SLA to be present at every touch point in the consumer's home. I suppose we're all wondering, we've got all these products, and Neem touched on it earlier as well, but how do we combine them all together and how do we connect them? I'd like to introduce you to the SLA HEMS app. This is the future of energy management. Through one simple app, households can track real-time energy usage, control appliances like hot water, heat pumps, EV chargers, air conditioner, and optimize energy cost, which is extremely important for consumers. The system uses smart load shift or AI smarts to charge your EV when energy is cheapest, pre-cool or heat your home, and turn your hot water heat pump on at the right time, all automatically without the need for you to think, because we're all fairly busy in our life and we really don't want to think about one more extra thing to do. It gets even smarter when we throw in weather and battery optimization. The HEMS predicts conditions and charges your battery when solar is high, storing energy before cloudy days, and shifting load to when power is cheapest. As an example, it can automatically cool your home ahead of a heat wave or heat water when excess solar is available. As the chart suggests, HEMS can significantly lower household consumption compared to unmanaged use. By deploying machine learning algorithms, it identifies patterns and predicts your energy needs in advance. And combined with a battery integration, it gives consumers more control, lowers bills, and creates a cleaner lifestyle solution, and positions SLA HEMS as a must-have in today's energy landscape. Thank you very much. I'd like to pass you on to Andrew.
Thanks, Vince. Andrew here, CFO of the company. I just wanted to, first of all, just talk about the offer itself. So the terms of the offer are, and this is all in the offer information statement as well, but reiterate the details here. We're offering up to 5 million shares at $1 each. The nature of the shares that we're offering are such that they have equal rights to the existing shareholders and the founders' shares. And so any sort of voting that needs to be done in the future, they will carry the same level of voting. We have the offer open to those that signed up on the expressions of interest on the on-market website on the 25th of September, and we'll be launching publicly on the 30th of September, launching publicly on the 30th of September, and we will be closing the offer in its entirety on the 16th of October. Vince, just move it forward to the next slide, and I'll talk about what we're going to do with the funds that we raise. And this is an example, I guess, of at a maximum amount of the funds raised, but the percentages down the right-hand column of this particular slide highlight where we're looking to allocate funds. You can see the vast majority of the funds that we're looking to use in purchasing inventory. At this stage, the inventory, the hardware that Naeem and Vince have talked about in terms of new products, existing products, is a priority. We'll be looking to grow those products and install those energy efficient products into households and commercial establishments over the coming period. But we're also investing heavily in the SaaS development, the HEMS product, that energy management software that we've talked about. Those two items are really the large proportion of what we'll be using the funds for over the coming period. Just to iterate that the company is profitable. We are looking to use retained earnings in the short term, most likely to be recycled back into the business to fund the growth of the business. A few people have expressed some questions over dividends and the like, and I guess the company, as it matures, the board would look at making a decision on whether a dividend policy would be introduced in the future. But for the short term, that certainly would be on the back burner. And I've just been told that both of our two independent directors are online listening and on the presentation as we speak. We are so in terms of short-term incentives, often get asked the question, what do the returns look like for an investor? To give an example, first of all, short-term, to de-risk the overall investment, we're offering a short-term incentive by way of credits on purchasing of SLA product. These come in the form of discounts up to 30% on each purchase. So for an example, the best way to sort of frame this is if you invest $10,000 in the capital raise as a purchasing shares of up to $10,000, you'd be entitled to receive up to $10,000 worth of discounts on future SLA product purchases. It's a very attractive offer, we think, and certainly one where an investor can look at it and frame it in a way where they're de-risking their investment in shares through the sort of collection of short-term incentives via the discount. There are limits and conditions, but overall, that's the details are in the offer document. And finally, I just wanted to talk about longer term approach and where the company is looking to really highlight and showcase longer term incentives for investors. And we are looking at a potential exit via an IPO in 2029. The board is obviously would look at all sorts of opportunities along the way, but that is a goal that we've set. And the way we're looking to sort of roll that out over time is through hitting certain milestones that are highlighted on that slide across the coming years. These product milestones that we're looking to put forward are really about creating shareholder value, brand value, and enhancing the overall value of the company that hopefully you're looking to join us on that journey over the coming years. Speculating on exactly what that outcome would look like is not for me to really focus on today, but it is ultimately looking to create shareholder value through that enhancement of the company value over time. I'll pass that now over to Susie to highlight a critical part of what we're doing and why we're doing it.
Hi everyone. Okay, I'll be talking about our global initiative, which is really important to the executive management team and the business as a whole. So 5% of profits are donated. So with over 4 million premature deaths annually that are linked to indoor air pollution caused by cooking with biomass fuels, which includes things like wood chips, charcoal and dung. Women face heightened risks of lung disease from prolonged exposure to toxic fumes and smoke, while children under the age of 5 account for 50% of pneumonia deaths linked to cooking fumes. This is a real problem and a real concern. And we believe we can help to address the problem by offering a better, cleaner and more sustainable solution. So SLA champions electric induction cooktops, as you saw earlier, as a clean, efficient solution that eliminates harmful emissions. It reduces deforestation and eases household burdens. So we are committed to this cause. And obviously, what we're going to be doing from the next financial year is directing 5% of our net profits to fund clean cooking solutions in least developed countries around Australia, like surrounding Australia, places like Papua New Guinea, Southeast Asia. So this aligns with the UN Sustainable Development Goals for health, energy, access and climate action. Thanks, Tim. I'll hand over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Susie, and thank you, guys. Very good run through, very comprehensive. When just for the investors online, when the offer does open next Thursday, you will be able to see that offer information statement. It's a very detailed document. Encouraging you to have a look at that. If you do have questions, once again, I encourage you to use the Q&A button at the bottom and ask those questions and we'll get those answered for you. A couple of questions from me, not directed to anybody. Maybe all of you sort of have a comment on this, but the big one for me is just in relation to the macro trend that's out there, the government subsidies for batteries. It seems like you're there at the right time, right place for SLA. Can you just talk about that, what that means, and educate us on what that government subsidy is and how that is beneficial for your business? Because I know there's been a lot of press in and around that the last couple of months. So just handing that over to whoever wants to answer that first, or a group sort of answer it as a whole.
Vincent, I'll get you to answer this question for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. So it's these trends are accelerators, Tim. They're not sort of, they assist with the growth of the business. I mean, it is definitely an important factor as on a federal level, because it's definitely going to be fueling a lot of demand for this product in the marketplace. But the way that I see it is that it's not a full business model. So those incentives are really great at accelerating the movement to where we need to get to. So it actually raises awareness. And that's what we're seeing a lot of at the moment. So at the moment, it is a fantastic time to be in this industry because of these spotlights and what the federal government is doing with these rebates. But I see it as an accelerator. It's not you building your business on that. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, thanks, Vince. Name anything to Andrew, anything to add to that at all, or Susie? Okay. Another question that people are wanting to ask in relation to valuation. So maybe Andrew, you might want to answer that. Just valuation, I think, is around about the 39 million mark. Can you just give a bit of context around that, how you arrived at that, and where you sort of think that is at the moment?
Yep. Thanks, Tim. Good question. So the details of the valuation rationale, they're found in the offer document. I think around page 30, halfway through the document. The valuation is based on comparables of like companies in similar stages of growth. So using trailing 12 months revenue as the leading indicator of that valuation, we've compared it to companies that are in the same industry, those companies that are in the same stage of growth, put together weightings off the back of those and established where we are. Now, the company itself is well and truly revenue generative. We've done 5 million in trailing 12 months trailing 12 months revenues up until the end of March this year. We've got strong pipelines, and evaluation is obviously a somewhat of a subjective element, but we feel that there are strong comparables that show that valuation is reflective of where the company is at this stage, with a very strong runway of future growth in both in product development and revenue capabilities. To give an example of where we're standing at the moment in terms of order books and batteries, which is obviously our next major product launch for this financial year. We're looking at a very strong order book. Demand is clearly outstripping supply. And to the previous question around macro trends and the government incentives around battery installation, certainly we're experiencing the same in our business in terms of that demand coming through, which is obviously why we're looking to raise capital and capitalize on the strong trends that we're seeing, obviously, on that particular product. But it's not the only thing we're seeing. So in terms of the overall valuation, we've got several products that are in various stages of development, not to mention the software capability, which we've all touched on previously in the presentation, which all supports that valuation.
Just staying with the hardware for a moment, and we'll get onto the software after that. But hardware from a battery standpoint, what's that look like? I mean, you've got 1,500 orders at the moment. What's the forecast look like, 26, 27, 28? Have you got sort of numbers you're happy to share on that as to where you think that can get to?
Yeah, we do. And internally, obviously, we've forecast out. It's a measure, we're talking what we're forecasting. I don't want to put specifics out there. It's certain restrictions in what we can disclose at this point. Sure. But we're certainly looking at multiples of what our current yearly revenue has been historically. Okay. And we're certainly seeing that as very achievable going forward.
And then sort of extrapolating that a bit further, in terms of competitors out there, how are you guys positioned against them, point of difference, et cetera, why SLA over others, answers to that people would like to hear?
Yeah,
Maybe I'll just do that one to you, Naeem. Yep.
Yep,
Naeem,
I'll
yeah.
answer that question. Yep. There is a lot of competitors out there. They're offering one product solution. No one is offering the whole ecosystem, and no one is offering the software that will give you a very high profit margin, long-term repeat revenue. Okay. Yes, there is a lot of competition out there. They're offering a single product solution. There is no one out there in Australia who has got the complete ecosystem. Okay. I think we will be the first one to offer this. Okay.
Okay.
So hardware, software connecting to the grid, long-term repeat revenue for the investor and for us,
Yep.
high margin. Normally in these sort of SaaS programs, okay, the profit margin could be as high as 90%. Okay, so that's why we are different from the competition, and
Yep.
there is no one is offering the complete ecosystem. Hope that answers.
So the question name would be, currently you have all revenues from hardware.
Yep.
Software looks like being, with 11,500 customers that have come in and bought the hardware and potentially a great upsell into the software. When would the software be coming to commercialization for you and come in charging
Sure.
for that on a MRR basis, monthly recurring revenue basis?
Yes. In the offer document, we have got a detailed breakdown for that, but I just want to highlight a few points that, okay, where we are at this stage with the software. The solution design document is already complete. We are in development phase of cloud infrastructure. We are hoping to finish that cloud infrastructure development by first quarter of next year. As soon as we finish that one, because that's going to be the central point to connect grid, hardware, everything. Okay. As soon as we finish that one, we will start developing the app and the desktop version. Okay. That is something it will take at least 3 to 6 months for the first version to launch. Okay. And we are hoping by first quarter of next financial year, the product will be in the market, which is the version 1. And then we will start releasing version 2, 3 every time there is an update. And it's a continuous process. Parallelly, all the UI UX design, okay, the marketing team, they already have completed everything, and
Okay.
they are doing phase 2 version of the work. In next financial year, which is, I think, FY27, we will be in a position to connect the software with the grid.
Okay. So July 26, sort of with the first revenue coming in from the software business.
Yes.
Yeah. Staying with you, Naeem, for a moment. We have had over 600 potential investors express their interest, expecting more to come along as well. Question in relation to that group. You have spoken to a number of people personally. I'm always interested in what they have to say. What are they interested in? You've spoken to them, you've called them up. What are they interested in? What are you hearing from them as to why they're interested in SLA as a business and potentially becoming a shareholder? What's the main sort of 2 or 3 sort of subjects of conversation there that people are raising with you?
Look, I have spoken to quite a few investors that have expressed interest. Okay, people that have expressed interest to invest more than $100,000. Their main point of interest is the software, the recurring revenue, the high profit margin. That's their point of interest. They want to know that, okay, how far we are with the software and how soon we will be in the market with the software. That's their main point of interest. People, they are looking to invest 10,000, 20,000. Their main point of interest is basically that rewards that they're going to get, which is $10,000. And at the same time, they're also interested in the software. So the interest for people investing 10 to 20,000, their first interest is the rewards, because they need all this hardware for their household and businesses. The second interest is the software. People, they're looking at investing more than 100,000. Their main interest is the software, the recurring revenue, and the high profit margin is their main interest.
Okay. A question for you, Andrew, has come in. Just in relation to the OIS, there was a replacement put out. Is there a reason why that was put out? Can you just run through that for us?
Yeah, sure, Tim. So whenever this particular offer information statement gets launched, there's a review done in more cases than not, or by ASIC, and that review was thorough. And that thorough review was really just tweaking some of the messaging that we had in the first iteration of the offer document. This is standard sort of practice. It's nothing to be at all surprised about. It was largely expected. But yeah, it was certainly some changes that some largely superficial type changes that we made to the offer document, just to make sure that the messaging was very clear. And that resulted in us just pushing the dates back a little bit. And so that amendment to those dates was had to be done, and that's what's really largely been updated in that second version.
Yeah, nothing more sort of substantial than that. Another question, in the use of funds, maybe staying with you, Andrew, in the use of funds, what was it, 75% was going to inventory. Can you tell us a little bit more about which inventory that is? I know you have 5 products in market. Is that they all batteries, or they're maybe the timeline around maybe products 3, 4, and 5, the induction cooktop, etc., air conditioning? Is there sort of just a use of funds in relation to what products it's being spent on, and in relation to products 3, 4, and 5, are they having any of that use of funds being spent on them?
Yeah, thanks, Tim. It's a good question. It is largely, we're seeing the demand for the first effectively 2 products in heat pumps and battery storage as being the predominant recipients of that 75% that we're looking to allocate. The demand is, as we've said, is really strong as households there's a feeling that households want to sort of take some of that control and being able to put to work their own cost of living, decreasing cost of living, etc., and also participating in the whole climate change electrification process, and really being able to contribute somewhat to reducing carbon in the globe, in the world. So we're certainly seeing that demand. That demand is going to be the recipient of a vast majority of those funds. In terms of the software and design that's obviously going to be on future products. That development, a lot of that, there's sort of spending that's going to occur on top of the funds that we've raised, because we'll be returning and retaining profits back into the company to fund that future growth. So what you're not seeing in that use of funds is that retained earnings numbers that'll be used for things such as future development of product and rollout, design, software.
Yeah, no, good answer. Maybe with Andrew, question here, which I should have asked earlier, actually. It's a good question that's come in. Thank you, Rick, for this question. More about the Synergy and relationship with SLA and how that works. And obviously SLA is raising the money, but what is the relationship between the two, and what do investors need to know, the high points around that?
Yep, I will be happy to answer that question. Synergy is a retail company. They are in the business for the last 15 years. They basically retail all different sort of product available in the market, including SLA. And SLA is a manufacturer, and SLA is just another brand for Synergy to sell the product. So, for example, Synergy is a harveynorman who has got every single product available on their shelf. SLA is basically one of that brand.
Okay.
Just to add to that, To add to that, Tim, there is no shortage of demand for other distribution capabilities for SLA. The limiting factor has been stock and the availability of that stock. So what we're seeing certainly, and what we're looking to grow, is that distribution capability for SLA. and hence the reason again why that stock purchasing is so critical as part of this fundraising, because we see that distribution channel expanding quite rapidly in the near term.
A couple other questions. Maybe one for Vince. Sorry, Naeem, did you have something to say to add?
Yeah, I just want to add one more thing here, which is why we are allocating the big chunk of the fund for hardware. Okay, because every single hardware that we're installing in people's houses, okay, that will become a consumer of the software. Yeah, that's why the focus is the hardware. At the same time, there is a lot of other retailer who is similar or equivalent to Synergy. Okay, they're also investing to access the product.
Sure. Question then in relation to the hardware customers, and maybe Vince might be something you could answer here. What do you think the conversion would be for the 11,500 hardware customers that would be likely to take up the software subscription? You got any sort of thoughts on that? Have you guys, I'm sure you played around with that in a management meeting and thought, is a ready-made market, they're in the funnel. What will it take to convert them? Have you got thoughts around that? Naeem's mentioned that we're in commercialization July 2026 for that product.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts around that, Vince? You're the marketing man.
Look, that's a really good question, Tim. I suppose everyone wants to put a number to an action. You would be anticipating, probably going to shoot myself in the foot here, but I'm going to give a bit of a range. Considering, if you look at historical data, if you look at, as an example, if you're an Apple consumer, majority of Apple consumers will purchase more Apple products. So they've got an Apple phone, they've got a laptop, they've got all the other bits and pieces. So, with that type of rationale, you would be looking for anywhere between a 45 to a 65% conversion on those numbers, based on customer loyalty, the way the product is, how it makes people feel. We've got a lot of products that we're looking to release. If we have a look at how many people have taken on our SLA battery to market, that is a direct result of people understanding the brand from a heat pump perspective.
Yep.
So hopefully that answers your question, Tim.
Can I have the HEMS product, the software in my house, if I don't have any SLA hardware?
Yeah, that's a good question. So that's going to initially be another phase that we really haven't sort of touched on very much today, but there will be another phase rolling out further. So we are constantly going to be evolving the software. As Naeem mentioned, connecting it to the grid, that's going to be another step, which will then enable it to talk to all your appliances.
Okay.
So there's a lot of.
That's not in phase one, though. That's not in the rollout of July 26.
No, that's not going to be in the rollout.
Okay.
No.
Because that's transformative, right? The fact that you're moving from a hardware revenue to having recurring monthly revenue with the software. Is there IP around the design of HEMS? Something that you guys have got sort of locked up, and that you're doing something very different to everyone else?
No, there is no IP at this stage. We do have got IP on some of the product design, and we are constantly expanding that IP for every single product that we are launching in the market, but there is no IP at this stage for the software.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. There's a question from Rick saying how much has been raised so far. Rick, I would say that it hasn't opened yet. It does open next Thursday. Just in closing comments, I'll hand over to you guys, just if you have any closing comments, just wrapping things up. Naeem, do you want to sort of say 1 to 2 reasons why people should be investing in SLA?
Yes, definitely. People should be investing, like, for example, anyone who's investing $10,000 today, okay, they will get their money back pretty much immediately by purchasing all the SLA product, okay? So they're basically getting the shares kind of for free, okay? At the same time, people, they're looking at investing bigger dollar amount, okay? They will be thinking about that, okay, the business has got a potential. So this is not a one transaction business. The business has got a potential for every single customer they're installing those hardware, they will be a user of the software. The business has got a potential of very high profit margin from that software because it's going to be a repeat business. Okay. And when you have got a repeat business with high profit margin, the valuation of the company is going to grow significantly. So when we're going to go into the stock market, the return on investment will be quite significant. And I think people they're looking at investing big amount, especially people they are looking at investing more than $100,000. They understand these sort of metrics. I want to touch base a little bit on that. How many of these customers will become a user of the software? Okay. If people have got one SLA product, okay, that's the percentage is going to be low. But if people have got two SLA product, the percentage is going to be high. If the people have got three SLA product, the percentage is going to be even more higher. Okay. So I think the focus is how I can get more SLA product in the home. So they will be a by default customer for the software.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. And just in wrapping up, I'd like to, thank you guys, the four of you for attending. Great presentation. I can say from On Market's perspective, we do this on occasions. Why we like a particular company for investors. There's probably threefold points here. One of the reasons was just the macro trend here, that the government subsidies, the demand that's coming in, the move into electrification. That's a macro trend that we support, and we often like companies like yourself that are playing in that space. The second thing is obviously the revenue. You're profitable. You're only getting that from the hardware at the moment, but the software's coming online. Everyone you speak to likes the fact that you get, or potentially will be getting monthly or annual recurring revenue. That's a big one. And the other big one, which we hear a lot from investors, especially in the crowdfunding, early stage investment part, is you're an unlisted company. And I think the big point here is we often work with a lot of unlisted private companies. You guys have deliberately moved into the public space. That's why you're doing an OIS. So for an unlisted public company, you've outlined your pathway to liquidity. I think that's really important for investors to get that not everyone has a pathway to liquidity is clearly outlined. And that was Andrew's slide 7 or 8 in there, which I think is really important to understand. You have a want and a desire to be a listed company, ideally giving those potential investors that are online now that are coming in the next couple of weeks a clear pathway to getting an ROI, a return on their investment, via potentially that liquidity event being an IPO. So that's sort of the wrap from us. If you are online, you're seeing this as a recording. The call to action here is twofold. One is register your interest. If you haven't done so already, express your interest. As I said, we have over 600 people have already done that. We expect a lot more in the next week. The second call to action here is that next Thursday around mid-morning, lunchtime, the offer will go live. So to those that sort of asking the questions of how much has already been invested, it hasn't opened yet, but there has been an indication that it will be a lot of investment coming in from the interest that's already come about. So that CTA is look out for the email that's coming in for those that have expressed their interest around next Thursday saying the offer is now open. But thanks again, guys. Really comprehensive and great insight into the company and a great insight into the investment opportunity. But so thank you, and thank you everyone online for joining us in your lunch hour.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Much appreciated.
Bye.